In America, about 48 million people experience some form of hearing loss. This is about 14% of the United States population. Hearing loss is an issue that, if left unaddressed, can impact speech, access to school and employment, cognition, and may cause social isolation and stigma. Cochlear implants provide a solution for those with profound to severe hearing loss and can help prevent these struggles. However, it can be difficult for Americans to be able to receive this assistive technology due to its expense, accessibility, and limited resources. Now, before we get into this, how about we talk about how a cochlear implant works? Cochlear implant has a sound processor that pulls in sounds from the surrounding environment and converts it to electrical impulses. The external transmitter sends these impulses to the internal receiver. The receiver then sends the electrical signals down the attached thin line into the cochlea.
There's two parts. There's an implant that's surgically implanted in the ear. Okay, so there's a magnet here, and then there's a little computer chip here, essentially, that drives the implant.
The signals goes past the damaged nerve cells in the cochlea and activates tiny sound electrodes located in the cochlea.
The little electrodes are stimulated, and that's what stimulates the nerve of hearing directly to tell your brain that you heard something. On the outside, the patient wears what kind of looks like a hearing aid, but it's not. So there's microphones here that pick up the sound around them. Then the signal is sent through this cable. Now there's a magnet on this piece that attaches to the head. And this coil or this headpiece connects to the internal implant. So the sound is picked up, it's conducted through this wire to this headpiece. It jumps through the skin and through the skull, and the sound then gets transmitted to the internal implant where the little electrodes are stimulated, and that's what stimulates the nerve of hearing directly to tell your brain that you heard something.
There are also some additional key components that are important to remember about cochlear implants. Cochlear implants are different from hearing aids because hearing aids amplify sounds, whereas cochlear implants send electrical signals straight into the nerve. Only those with severe to profound hearing loss are candidates because hearing aids must not be able to work in order to receive a cochlear implant.
Degree of hearing loss is a huge factor. For younger children, it has to be more significant hearing loss and bilateral. As adults, it can be more moderate to severe hearing loss.
Cochlear implants allow some people to gain back some hearing, but is never an exact replica of natural hearing. As you can see, even though cochlear implants are not 100% effective, it still provides an opportunity for those with hearing loss to gain back their ability to communicate with others. However, there are two major barriers to receiving cochlear implants: a lack of explicit adult coverage and Medicaid under federal law, and healthcare access in rural areas. These two factors affect thousands of people's lives, and the decision to have a cochlear implant should be of their own free will, not determined by their financial status or their home address.
The differences between rural and urban areas is primarily access to resources. There are challenges because there are not as many deaf educators in rural areas. There are not as many professionals to support someone who has received an implant. In urban areas, you tend to have a larger region. You have deaf educator supports, SLP supports, and a variety of supports and access to audiologists and the clinics to keep the cochlear implant functioning.
Rural access is a major barrier, as urban areas are generally the only places that offer implant surgeries. People who live in rural areas face difficulties such as traveling multiple hours to receive medical care, not being able to discuss with doctors about their options, finding a stay, and taking time off work. More options need to be available for those who are lower income and traveling to medical centers.
So people who live in rural areas have to travel really far to get those services, and You know, if you're a parent in a busy household and have to take your child to speech therapy every week and you have to drive really far, one, it gets to be very expensive, and two, it's just really difficult. We see a lot of our older adults, especially, who live far away. You know, it's hard for them to drive 2 hours for an appointment. Or if the weather's bad, then they can't drive to the clinic, they cancel, and it gets rescheduled and pushed out farther. So, and there just aren't audiologists in rural areas who are cochlear implant specialists. You know, most of us are in more bigger cities and bigger clinics. So it is harder for cochlear implant patients in those rural areas.
Without investment in specialized fields such as audiology and otology, rural residents remain at a disadvantage when seeking cochlear implants. Insurance will usually cover up to 80% of most surgeries, but those who are lower income may not be able to afford the rest. As an option, those who are lower income can use Medicaid, but inconsistent policy across states can lead to significant gaps in accessibility. What is Medicaid and how do they provide coverage for cochlear implants? Medicaid is a joint federal and state program that provides health coverage to those who are lower income. At the federal level, Medicaid coverage regarding cochlear implants is left to the states to decide. This allows states to overlook cochlear implants as a medical necessity. In Missouri, representatives and senators are actively working to provide more change by having a federal law that provides the same adult coverage in each state will eliminate all uncertainties for adults on Medicaid.
Harper Pinkston, come on up.
Hi, Harper. Hi, Harper.
Sounds like talking.
Do you hear my voice? Welcome back to the land of the hearing. Is it good? Can you hear it?
Kinda, yes.
Does it sound funny?
A little bit.
Can I say, I love you?
I love you too.
Awesome. Very good.
Not too bad.
Is it too soft?
This much.
Is it different?
Is that better as far as loudness?
Better.
Is it too loud? Is it okay?
Awesome. Harper, are you happy? Okay.
Great. Okay?
Like,
Might sound like a robot. Might sound like Mickey Mouse. Okay?
Hi, Harper. Hi. You hear it?
there's like a weird noise.
Does it sound weird? Does it sound weird?
It's just a weird noise.
What's it sound like?
Does it sound weird?
Weird.
I love you.
I love you too. I can hear.
It's different, babe. You like it?
The noise is kind of like. I don't know.
Is it,
Is it making lots of sounds? Is it making weird sounds?
It's like somebody singing like a high note.
It's making a high note. I sound like high.
yeah, go higher.
Is that normal?
Yes, completely normal.
It's louder.
How long does that usually last?